Hey everyone, this is Gary Nealon from GaryNealon.com and Ecom Accelerator. Very excited here to have George on the line with me to talk about Amazon DPS. So his
DSP.
DSP. That's what his company specializes in, and something that I've been researching lately for my own business and for some of the clients that I work with. And I figured I'd bring on an expert that could actually kind of walk us through what it is and all that kind of stuff. So, George, if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about your company and like how you kind of got started with Amazon and everything else.
Okay, great. So I started the company in 2011, and we primarily focus on paid advertising. And we've gone through the different platforms. So we specialize in Google as well as Amazon. However, Amazon now takes up 98% of the business that we take on. So we take a real hands-on approach when it comes to anything and everything to do with Amazon, but only focus on paid advertising. We came across Amazon DSP kind of near the start of last year. We did hear about it a few years back, but the self-service kind of option came available to us. So we were able to have access to our own Amazon DSP account to help Amazon sellers get even more traffic and exposure through another form of paid advertising. Okay.
So maybe you can, for people that may not be familiar with what Amazon DSP is, can you explain what that is versus like sponsored ads and some of the other types of ads available on Amazon?
Yes, of course. Yeah. So Amazon DSP stands for Amazon Demand Side Platform. So the demand side platform is a layer of kind of code that basically kind of communicates with the SSP, so the supply side platform. So it can basically meet the demand of any supply there is on any inventory on the web, online. So to give you a kind of a basic understanding, if there's content out there, regardless of what platform, that has ad space, there needs to be a way of actually getting ads to go there through computers and not manually. So this is where programmatic advertising comes into play. And then Amazon has its own DSP. So Amazon, basically through using Amazon, you can then have your ads serve on other people's websites, and they're making it far more sophisticated. So it could be a lot more focused, kind of having your ads tailored to certain types of content, and which then brings traffic from outside back into Amazon to your listing.
Can you give us an example of maybe an ad that would kind of apply to that, like a real life example of maybe a product that you've worked with before and where you were able to target people on other sites?
Yeah, sure. So we worked with one or two health supplements, and we targeted content around health, healthy living, outside of Amazon, and that seemed to get some great traction. One of the unique things about Amazon DSP is there's so many other DSPs out there. So Google's got DoubleClick, and Facebook is actually a DSP but only deals with its own inventory. But Amazon's got the most unique kind of supply side, because firstly, you can only kind of have your ad served within Amazon through Amazon. You can't use another DSP to get in there. And secondly, it uses first-party data. And this is what's incredible about Amazon DSP. So, that information is, they've got years and years and years of buying behavior data kind of at their disposal. So they've got all of these different categories. So regardless of what lifestyle you're looking for, regardless of what kind of products people are interested in, you can target them on Amazon. If there's not a category for you to target, you can create your own. And what's even more scary, well, not scary, but like interesting for us, is you can actually target your competitors' ASINs and show to their audience without them ever knowing. So you can put their ASINs as an audience, so create an audience. So whether it's someone who's purchased their product or someone who's just looked at their product and not purchased, and you can follow that audience around within Amazon and outside of Amazon. And we've seen some great results on that to kind of increase our clients' market share.
It's interesting you brought up the whole first party data thing. I don't know if you read where in 2022, Google is actually no longer allowing first party cookies on Chrome. So I have a feeling this is going to have a huge impact, especially with DSP, because if you don't have that first party data, it's going to be almost impossible to start targeting people. So
yeah.
I could see that having a major impact, especially with Amazon DSP now.
Yeah, yeah, and what's interesting is Amazon is very quickly growing, growing at a faster rate than any other DSP right now. Google and Facebook are the two big players, but Amazon's not far behind.
And
Um,
what types of businesses have you seen that benefit from DSP? Is there like, have you seen any that don't work and some that do work, or can you give us a feel for that?
Yeah, of course. So it depends. So when I speak to a kind of an everyday seller, their main focus is always to return they get on ad spend. Um, so um, and when it comes to the remarketing and re-engaging with an audience that have viewed your product and not purchased, there we kind of knock the ball out of the park, and we get a better results than you get through their current advertising through Seller Central or AMS. Um, that's kind of bottom of the funnel. So that's where we're able to get good conversion rates. However, when we try and go into kind of video ads, when we go into outside of Amazon, the conversion rates are not as high. And actually they're not as good, but this is because you're targeting people kind of who are just viewing your product for the first time. They might not necessarily be looking for your product, but in terms of visibility and awareness, where we had one or two, and that's been their kind of main KPI, um, that's been a tremendous support for them, especially when someone isn't aware of the brand. So if it's a kind of a new type of product and people don't understand what it is, you can then have DSP come in and actually just present itself to the audience.
Now, would you say DSP, is it something that for somebody that's starting a brand new company that they could use, or is it more for somebody that's seasoned and has some data that they could actually leverage in terms of marketing on the platform?
Absolutely. So it has to be seasoned. We have tested with smaller companies who were really desperate to get on the platform, and we didn't see the results. I think if you're really small and you're just starting off, I think sponsored ads is the first port of call. Go there first, see what can be done there. And then if you start getting a few thousand hits to kind of individual products, then I think that at that stage your product is more likely to be retail ready, to have reviews, kind of convert really well. So it's going to do better, has a higher chance of doing well on DSP too.
So for a seasoned business that's on there, let's say they're doing over $1 million, but they're going to launch a new product. Is this something that you would include in a product launch, or is it more for a product that's already been on the market for a little bit?
It would be mainly for a product that's already been on the market, but we're happy to test. I think with DSP at the moment, it's all about testing. So I'm happy to be proven wrong. If someone has an incredible product and no one else is kind of doing what they're doing with that product, then why not? Let's test it. I think one of the most interesting things with this is the ability to scale. So if it looks like you hit an audience and they're engaging, you could do far more in terms of scaling than you can through sponsored ads.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
And do you have any ballpark, or an example of maybe a CPA or cost per acquisition that you're getting through DSP versus what the client was getting previously? Have you seen that?
Yeah. So we got one account is getting 27% ACOS, and they're getting about 12% ACOS through DSP. That's been kind of primarily remarketing. And there's another company we're dealing with, and their kind of ACOS is really high because the category they're in is very competitive. So they're achieving a 50% ACOS, whereas with what we're doing, it's 20%.
Okay.
The ACOS. So what we've done is we've kind of we've aligned this strategy with using sponsored ads and other forms of advertising to generate more traffic for the awareness, and then remarketing is used to kind of close those sales in. And it's been a fantastic sales funnel that we followed, and we've seen some really good results.
Awesome. Yeah, that sounds really great. Are there any issues or challenges that you're aware of with DSP right now that people should be aware of if they're going to start?
Yeah. There's a few challenges right now. I think one of it is kind of the open exchange. It's still a bit of an unknown. It's like the GDN 10 years ago. It's like the contextual targeting at the moment still needs to be worked on and to be refined and improved. So where your ads appear is an issue, what kind of, can it damage your brand? So that's something that's closely monitored by us. That's one thing. The attribution's a bit of a mess right now. So you don't get the exact numbers and it doesn't really make sense sometimes. we're kind of working that out ourselves. However, what we do is we always review business reports and actual sales data of what we're doing, just to make sure that, there is sales growing. But attribution is a big issue. I've spoken to Amazon about this, and this is one of their big things for 2020 is to kind of really get that working properly. And it should be by the end of the year, kind of attributing the sales better. So.
Okay. And I think if I remember correctly, you tell me that for somebody to kind of do it on their own, there's actually a spend requirement too, right?
No. So if you wanted to go through Amazon, so Amazon basically manage the account for you, you're looking at $35,000. I don't think it's per month. I think it's for a period of time. I think it's up to 2 or 3 months. So $35,000 is what is required, and then they'll set you up. Whereas with us, because we've got our own accounts, a self-service account, we start as little as $5K. And if we need to 3K, just to kind of get kind of dip our toes in the water, see what it can do before we start pushing harder. So that's kind of how we do it. I think in a few years, DSP will probably be open to everyone, but at the moment, its sophistication is just it's a bit of a mess to work in. So if you don't know what you're doing, you can't just navigate your way around. You make some errors, it could cost you a lot. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Anything else you can think of that somebody that might be watching this would need to know if they're thinking about signing up with Amazon DSP?
DSP. Okay, so if someone's thinking about signing up Amazon DSP, I'd say before reaching out to Amazon, just have a word with us as well, because I think the main goal is to kind of create value using this form of advertising. And we'll be honest with you, so there have been a few companies we've turned down because it just isn't the right fit. It's not for everyone. So I would say try and do your homework. If you have any questions, by all means, ask us. I'm happy to kind of answer any questions that you may have. And don't rush into it and put too much money in. And these things take time to settle. I think that's what I would say. Yeah.
And that kind of led to the next question then. So how would somebody get in touch with you guys if they want to reach out and kind of get some more information about your company?
Yeah, so my company is Clear Ads Limited, so clearads.co.uk. You can email me directly at george@clearads.co.uk, and I'll get back to you within a day or two.
Awesome. Yeah. And the other day you had shared a couple tips with me that in a little file that I'll attach this video as well, so they have some additional information about just some questions that we had going back and forth with each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really appreciate taking a couple minutes. I think this was really, really good just to get some information about DSP and kind of where it's going. I'm pretty fascinated with the platform and what it can do. So I think for anybody that's out there that's watching this that has a seasoned business that's looking for the next thing to do to help grow their Amazon business, I think this is a natural progression as long as the numbers make sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah, awesome.
Thanks, George. I really appreciate the time, and look forward to talking again.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you.
Awesome.